Some shrimp pasta. So first you have to start with some whiskey. Okay. Make sure it's a good one from Scotland. Okay. Okay. So we got a pot of boiling water. I'm going to do a pound of pasta. Make sure when you're boiling your water, you have a lot of water that you're boiling your pasta in, so you don't get a real starchy, gummy pasta. So you want to season your pasta water to where it's like seawater. So I do about a handful of salt and another half. And what you're going for is salty water, because that's how you're going to be able to season the noodle. We're not building something that you're going to be drenching your pasta in. Anyways, so I'm going to turn this burner on in the back, move this water back here, and we're going to start the shrimp and veggies. Now that this burner was already on, so when I move this pan over here, it's already starting to get hot. What you're trying to do is you're going to wait a minute until it actually gets hot before you would add your oil, because what you're trying to do is when the pan gets hot, it starts to seal up all the cracks that are in the pan. And now you can add your oil. Make sure you get a good olive oil. Now you're going to let your oil get hot. And we got some garlic and onions we're going to start with. Okay? And you want either a good polymer spoon or a wooden spoon. It's whatever you prefer. So now my oil's pretty hot. You can throw a couple onions in here. Okay, they're starting to sizzle, so let's go ahead and get started with the onions. I like to do a lot, since we're going to cook these down real nice, and it's going to go in pasta, and when you get it into the pasta, it's going to spread out. So we're just going to sweat these. Need a little bit more olive oil. I don't cook with recipes, so if you're looking for that, I'm sorry. I go by eye. I know what I'm looking for, so I'm looking for basically the onions to look wet. They've got enough oil on them. Get a good olive oil, so you don't feel bad about eating a lot of oil. Anyway, so we'll wait for this to get hot. We already sliced our tomatoes and onions, and so basically here's the steps. We're going to go ahead and cook all of the veggies together, since my wife doesn't like having shrimp in her pasta. I don't know. Whatever, but we're going to make it work. So we're going to cook all of this stuff together. We're going to take all of that out and put it in a separate vessel, and we're going to cook the shrimp separately and save a portion of that sauce with the shrimp in it, and save some of it with not. And that way she's happy. We're quarantined for a while, and I don't want any problems. That's why we're drinking whiskey. It makes the day go by better. So anyways, so now we're at this point where the onions are not raw anymore, and we're going to start adding in the garlic. I did a rough chop on the garlic. Like I said, I'm not trying to turn these onions into real caramelized things. We're just trying to get them opaque, basically so they look wet. Now that the garlic is in here, this is going to go quick. So you don't want your garlic to turn brown. That's you know, burnt garlic is going to be very bitter, and it's never a good thing. But what is a good thing is when you get garlic and onions and olive oil in a pan, it smells good. We're going to bring our tomatoes over. I have a bottle of wine that my wife didn't finish. So this is my, we're going to make this work wine. So this is just a Chardonnay. If you have, you know, wine that your wife drank 3/4 of the bottle and you got a quarter left, you know, you can go ahead and use that, you know, to help break the sauce up. Now this is a good a base. So I don't know what you're going to have in your kitchens, you know, since we are in quarantine. But you have, you know, I grab like the essentials, which is I have to have onions, I have to have garlic. I don't necessarily have to have fresh cherry tomatoes. I bought a bunch of canned tomatoes, but my canned tomatoes that I bought are big, huge canned tomatoes, so I can make spaghetti sauce and jar it. I wasn't going to open those tonight. So the plan is you're just going to make a quick sauce with this. So now that the garlic is cooked down, there's a lot of garlic in this, so you don't want it to be harsh. But we do need to start adding the tomatoes. So you're just going to cook it all down now. I don't like tomatoes when they get real gummy and nasty. I like them to kind of be fresh and bright. So I don't really want to cook them down too much to where they're, you know, nasty. But we have to get this garlic to where it's not harsh. So this is where you're going to have to pause your video because we're going to add this wine and we're going to let this boil until there's no liquid. So when you're moving the pan here, you see all the liquid in the bottom of the pan. What you're trying to do is you want it to look the same as it did when there was no wine in there. So we're going to reduce this down to what they call au sec. So all of this is going to get reduced down so that it won't be so liquidy. Okay, now we're gone. Get your towel back. Let's wipe that pan. Okay, so we're going to get the pan hot again, add some more olive oil. We're going to go ahead and start putting these shrimp in here. Some shrimp skin. You don't want to overcrowd the pan because you kind of want to have them nice and fried, I guess. We want to get some color on them. So, there we go. So at this point, what we're going to do is season these shrimp with a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, again, bring your salt crock out. You pick them up cheap at Marshall's or that new Home Goods around the corner. Always salt from up high. It's fine if you make a mess, you can always clean it. But salt from up high, that way your salt falls down nice like snow. You don't want to have one little piece of shrimp that's got, you know, a whole handful of salt on it. So I'm gonna throw a little black pepper, and we're just gonna turn these bad boys over. And you're just trying to get a little color on them, just a little brown. Turn that one back over. You're not really trying to cook them because we're going to add that onion and tomato base to this sauce and here in a second. So remember, you got to reserve one up to the side for the people that don't like seafood. My wife likes seafood, let's be clear. She likes seafood. She doesn't really like shellfish. She's like, I like salmon with mayonnaise. No, I'm joking. She likes it with sour cream, like they do in Norway. All right. You grab a. Welcome back from our Ardbeg commercial break. Let's fill up another gram. Here we go. All right, we're good. So we're to the point with the shrimp that we need to add the rest of the shrimp back. So now we got a chance for it all to be nice. All right. So we salted the pasta water. Now I don't know if this is fast for you guys to open a box. This was on sale, so I bought it. It's 100% drum wheat semolina flour. So my favorite way to open these is like that, and we add the pasta to the water, kind of like in a circle. You know, you don't want to just dump it in. But now we're in the fast part. So this is for my wife. Now, what we're trying to do is get all your pasta down in here. Let's get it boiling. Hey, baby. Now we got all the pasta there. In there. Now the shrimp are going. Everything is cooked, so we're not trying to really cook anything anymore. So we're going to turn the heat off and move it over to the side. This is having a hard time, so maybe we'll move this over here since this is already screaming hot. Don't leave that on a hot burner. Okay, so we got our shrimp going. Now, it depends on where you're from, what you like, or how much basil you're going to use. You could start ripping it up in here now, and just tear it, depending on how good your knife skills are. You know, you could tear the basil, that's fine. This is what Italian people do. They just tear the basil up and throw it in. If you're from a different region from the world, you could do, put all the leaves together. Also those little ones in there. And you roll them up. Like so. And start cutting down. Make sure that when you're cutting, you know, you're not just going straight down. You want to move the knife across them like you're slicing it. Make sure your knives are very sharp. So this is chiffonade. This is just ribbons of basil. That's what the French do. Okay? So we're good. We got some nice basil in there through a stem. We're good. Everybody's gonna eat. My cheese grater. This is really fine. I don't like that one. I like the one that's a little coarser. I like to taste the cheese that's actually going in the thing. I don't want to spend 6 hours grating it. So you want to move your noodles around, make sure they're not sticking to each other. Now I don't use a pasta strainer. I always grab them out with a tong, unless I'm making macaroni and cheese for a 2-year-old. Yeah, you know, you don't dump the water, you keep the water. But I use a tong to grab the spaghetti out. Or if I have like bow ties or whatever, I'll use one of these little $6 items. They're called I think it's a spider. That's what they call this, it's a spider. Anyways, these are cheap. You can get them at Bed Bath & Beyond. But you scoop your pasta out with that. But the reason why you want to keep your water is this is also sauce. So while your pasta's in here boiling, it's releasing starches into the water. So you can always grab a ladle when this pasta's done and you take it out. If you need to add a little liquid to your noodles, you can add this pasta water, or to your shrimp. It will be fine. It's salted water, so it's seasoned and starched, so it will actually become creamy. And I'll show you that as soon as we're there, but we're not there yet. Also, dogs really like, you know, stiff pasta. My dogs love it, so I always save a couple for them. And pasta's good for them, so it's fine, right? Actually, what I do is I take, when it's just Liz and I eating, I take about this much noodles, about a whole scoop of them, and then I crack 2 eggs and I put it on plates outside and I let them eat pasta and eggs. It's fun. Anyways, don't tell Liz. So now the pasta's ready. So we're going to take it out with the tongs.
Is that better? Would you love? And go again. Okay, ready? You got it. It's not hot anymore, I don't think. Keep going, okay? And get your spoon.
Okay. We got about all of it out. So now we're in the spot that this is my favorite part. So you want to basically get these noodles in some good olive oil. And like I said, this is my favorite part. So a lot of times some of my favorite like snacks is just the noodles with olive oil. Good olive oil. And just grated cheese and grated Parmesan. Grated, like you grate it, not like you bought it grated and you're gonna put it in somebody's food. No, come on, don't do that. You know, just get some good Parmesan. You know, get the good stuff. So right now, this is ready. I mean, you can eat this. So, like I was saying earlier, if you just wanted to have just pasta and olive oil and salt, this is really good. This is a really good dish. If you wanted to just throw some sliced tomatoes in here at this point, and you know, a little sauteed asparagus or any kind of vegetables that you want to have, you can do that. But we're going to reserve, you know, some of this for my wife's pasta. Okay, so my wife, you know, she likes like a kind of like a vegetarian thing. So I'm gonna take some basil and rip up some nice basil in here. And this is fine if you want to rip it up now. It's a good time to do it. And again, you know, just tear it. Who cares? Don't make it complicated. So, you know, we're home cooks, or I'm a home cook now, but you know, shape your pasta. Hopefully we don't have a bunch of it dropping. You know, and you can twirl it. Once you get it to that point, and you know, no matter what you do, you're gonna have this stuff off to the side. So, you know, you can take, we got a rogue noodle. Okay. Okay. Anyways, just take some of the pasta from in here and throw it on here. Okay. If you want to add, so there's a couple things you can do. You can add a little bit more olive oil. Okay. Grate a little cheese, however you want to do it. You know. You know, you can also add a little lemon. So it's however you want to do it. But as far as this, now we got pasta, you know, we're working on that thing, now we got an issue over here. So remember what I was saying, that you may need to use the water. So now, let's say you want to use a couple drops of this, okay? So now we got pasta water in here, and our noodles are coming back. Now the more you work this, the more starches you're going to release, and you're going to end up with something creamy. So I don't know if you can see, let's add a little bit more water and you'll be able to see it. So like I said, if all you have is pasta noodles and olive oil and salt, you can make a dish. If you have Parmesan, even better. But, you know, mix this up, get it going. And now you have this nice creamy pasta, and even better, now we have all this nice shrimp to add. So, okay. So, again, you know, shape your pasta. Nice, it's creamy, we're good to go. Twirl that thing. And you can take some of these out and throw them up here. But you know, this is not a saucy pasta. It's not about that. You're really trying to get your flavors embedded in the noodle. You know, this isn't like mom's boiling, or your friend's mom. My mom never did this, but boiling noodles with plain water and throwing ragu in it on top. So I don't know. You could do a wedge, a lemon thing like that. There's a ton of ways you could do it. But yeah, that's a quick pasta. So there's two pastas. You know, make sure you finish your whiskey before you eat. Have a good quarantine.